But we must remind Iran that Allah has spoken in Surah Al-Anfal of the Quran. And Allah has ordered that we must build power to such an extent that our power will function as a deterrent, to deter others from attacking us. And if Iran had nuclear weapons, Israel would not have dared to attack Iran this way. And so it is time now for the Iranian people. I am sending this message to the Iranian people from Jambar to hearken and to heed to the words of Allah in Surah Al-Anfal when He said, بَعْدَ أُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. Build power to the extent that that power can function as a deterrent against the enemies of Allah and your enemies. That power is nuclear power. When the Soviet Union was facing the crisis of the West, the Soviet Union acquired nuclear weapons. And that put an end to the hot war. It became Cold War. Same thing happened with Pakistan. And before Pakistan, the same thing happened with Korea. So I am telling the Iranian people that this is what Allah has ordained in the Quran. And you, the Iranian people, have to force your religious leadership to change your policy. That Iran must now withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Since all your nuclear plants are going to be destroyed now by Israel, you have to rebuild your nuclear power. But you have to do it with the help of someone who could protect you from Israel. Russia has built a nuclear plant in Iran. Israel does not dare to attack that plant because Israel is afraid of Russia. So Israel has informed Russia, we will not attack that plant. Iran has to establish a relationship with Russia now, and with Pakistan, and with Korea, for Iran to now become a nuclear power. And on that day that Iran becomes a nuclear power, all the Arab states will look stupid, because Iran will now be able to protect itself from Israel, while continuing to defy Israel. Not because you have nuclear weapons will you attack Israel with a nuclear weapon. No, no. Fatwa of Imam Khomeini is correct that you don't use the nuclear weapon unless you are attacked. You will not be the first to use nuclear weapons. But if you are attacked, then the law of reciprocity applies. If they attack you with nuclear weapons, you can respond with nuclear weapons. This is my message for the people of Iran. And I pray that Allah might protect all His noble messengers, including the last of them, all the blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. As we greet you from beautiful Jambar in East Java in Indonesia on this, the 23rd day of the month of Zil Hajjah, with Bismillah, with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We begin this morning our series of talks on the subject of implications of Israel's attack on Iran. And our first observation is that Iran was not attacked suddenly. Israel and the Western world spent years preparing for this attack. And Israel announced in advance that we're going to attack Iran. Whenever Israel attacks, Israel never says, we did it. But this time Israel announced in advance we're going to attack Iran. Something different now for people who think. But because of the smartphone, most people don't think anymore. Others think for them. Most people don't decide anymore. Others decide for them. Most people are living like sheep and cattle. And we are trying to teach you to recover your freedom, to recover your capacity to think independently. Don't let others think for you. So there's something different now. And we must seek to understand what is it that is now new and different in Israel's behavior. Israel announced publicly that we will not allow Iran to become a nuclear power. But Iran says we don't want to become a nuclear power. Ayatollah Khomeini, rahimahullah, gave fatwa that it is haram to acquire nuclear weapons. And so Iran has always said we do not want nuclear weapons. We are developing nuclear power for peaceful purposes. But Israel never believed that, and the Western world never believed that. And so Israel had been warning that we will attack and destroy Iran's nuclear plants. In addition to the nuclear power that Iran is trying to build, Iran has also built a powerful missile technology and is able to send missiles to attack Israel. Possibly with Russian help, Iran also now has hypersonic missiles. And despite the fact that Israel has a powerful air defense system, Iran is still successful in sending missiles which strike Israel. If one missile has a nuclear warhead and it reaches Israel, goodbye Israel. And so not only does Israel want to destroy the nuclear plants, but also destroy the missile manufacturing plants. Despite the fact that Israel announced we will be attacking, yet Israel was spectacularly successful. They killed the chief of staff of the Iranian armed forces. That was a spectacular success and a great humiliation for Iran. Despite the fact that Israel announced in advance we will attack, yet Israel was spectacularly successful. They killed the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Force. They killed the general of the Iranian armed forces. They killed 7 eminent nuclear scientists. The only way that Israel could spectacularly succeed in this way is if Israel had good intelligence spying. What is demonstrated in this attack on Iran is that a major factor in Israel's success is something that we are familiar with called jassasa. Everybody know about jassasa. Even the children know about jassasa. Then why is it that the scholars of Islam don't know about jassasa? What's wrong with the scholars of Islam? They can't talk. Why are they silent? From Jambar, we are asking the world of Islamic scholarship, don't you know about jassasa? Don't you know about the hadith of Tamim ad-Dari? When will you understand the subject of Dajjal? We have been teaching you for 25 years or more. Either you have wax in your ears, or you have no capacity to think, or you're too scared to talk. It's time to wake up the world of Islamic scholarship. You're not going to silence me by shutting the doors of the masjid on me. You can shut doors and Allah can open other doors. And so, this morning, as we analyze Israel's attack on Iran and the spectacular success of that attack, we direct attention to the hadith of Tamim ad-Dari concerning Al-Masih ad-Dajjal and the figure of Al-Jassasa or the spy, and Israel's mastery of espionage. Secondly, we direct attention to the fact that while Israel was acting secretly in the past, Israel is now openly acting, defying the whole world. Number 3, Israel is telling the whole world, we will not submit to any law. We will not submit to the Charter of the United Nations. We will not submit to the authority of the Security Council. We will not submit to international law. Iran will do that. Saudi Arabia will do that. Pakistan will do that. China will do that. Russia will do that. The modern West will do that. But not Israel. Israel will not submit to anyone other than Israel. Israel is defying the whole world. How do we read and understand this behavior? It is not possible for the ulama of Islam to remain silent. The world of Islam is going to shake you up. You cannot remain silent anymore. You cannot shut the doors of the masjid anymore. Our people is calling on the scholars of Islam, come on and explain the conduct of the state of Israel, which will not submit to any law in the world. If you do not explain it, you are going to lose all credibility in the eyes of this ummah. The scholars of Islam will have to hide from the people tomorrow. So I'm appealing to you for your own sake. Scholars of Islam, you've got to stand up now and talk. At the heart of this subject is an intellectual problem. They have a scholarly problem. They have a problem in methodology, and we have to expose it from Jambar. Why can they not understand the function and the work of Dajjal in the subject of Iran? Why can they not understand how Dajjal is at work in the attack on Iran? Why can they not understand the link between Dajjal and the modern state of Israel? The problem is that they have the view that knowledge has now come to an end. Knowledge is now a box which is sealed. The knowledge of the Quran and the knowledge of the Hadith is a package. The package is sealed. There is no new knowledge to come. All that the scholars have to do is to transfer the box of knowledge from one generation to another. Whatever is in the books of tafsir is the final word on knowledge. So if the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that Dajjal will ride on a donkey, and it will be a flying donkey, and the books of tafsir talk only about a flying donkey, and the donkey will have its ears stretched out wide, and the donkey will fly as fast as the clouds. Tell Imran Hosein he cannot say that the flying donkey is an aircraft. There is no aircraft in the books of tafsir. And so we, the scholars of Islam, we will wait for the flying donkey. Well, I'm telling you, today you're looking like donkeys. The whole world of Islam is going to look upon you like donkeys because you're incapable of new thinking. There is ayah mutashabiha. When Allah said this, He meant that. There is hadith mutashabiha. When the Prophet said this, he meant that. No book of tafsir can give you the last word on ayah mutashabiha. Whenever we interpret a hadith, whenever we interpret the Quran, we have the right to do so. But when we interpret, only Allah can confirm that the interpretation is correct. So we must always say Allah knows best. We can be right or we can be wrong. We must not use ta'wil or interpretation to divide the ummah. That is wrong and sinful. But if we make an interpretation and it is correct, then that is the truth. And the truth will prevail. Not even Donald Trump can stop it. And so we say that the flying donkey is the aircraft. And everybody agree with us. So you can shut the door of the masjid. You'll only look like a donkey. And today we see that Israel commands the sky in Iran. The Western world supporting Israel control the sky in Iran. Iran does not have the capacity to protect its skies. This is the flying donkey. Similarly, we are able to see what you cannot see. And the people are accepting our view that when Allah spoke in the Quran, in Surah Al-Mursalat, in this ayah mutashabihah, and he said, بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ انطَلِقُوا إِلَى ظِلٍّ ذِي ثَلَاثِ شُعَبٍ. Proceed to a shadow which is comprised of 3 parts. This is ayah mutashabihah, and therefore it has to be interpreted. No one can give a ta'weel and say this is the last word. They have been saying this is in the tafsir. We don't know what Imran is talking about. We only follow tafsir, tafsir, tafsir. And this 3 shadow, the shadow with 3 parts is connected with Qiyamah. How many times do we have to tell you that no one gives the last word when it comes to ayah mutashabihah? The world is accepting my view that the shadow is Dajjal. The world is accepting my interpretation that Dajjal's footprints comes in 3 parts. The world is accepting my book, Jerusalem in the Quran, which was published 25 years ago, that in the first part of that shadow of Dajjal, the world witnessed Britain as a ruling state. Pax Britannica did not fall from the sky. Pax Britannica was the first part of the shadow in which Britain became the ruling state in the world. It was a British army led by General Allenby which conquered Jerusalem in 1917. It was the British government which issued in 1917 the Balfour Declaration, declaring the intention to create a Jewish state in Palestine. It was the British government which was given mandate over Palestine by the League of Nations. It was Britain which made way for Israel to become an independent state in 1948. It was British spies like Lawrence of Arabia who corrupted the world of Islam using Abdulaziz ibn Saud to take control of the Arabian Peninsula. So we say to the world of Islamic scholarship here from Jambar, you can shut the doors of the masjid on me, but the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ is accepting my view that Britain was the first part of the shadow. Pax Britannica is part of what is now taking place in the attack on Iran. And then we said the second part of the shadow was Pax Americana. And both Pax Britannica and Pax Americana were created and functioned to prepare the way for the third part. 25 years ago, we said in my book, Jerusalem in the Quran, there is a Pax Judaica that is coming. You have refused to respond to my book. For 25 years you have been silent on Jerusalem in the Quran. Every year that passes by you shut more doors of masajid on me. Today from Jambar we say to you, the reason why Israel is publicly attacking Iran, announcing in advance we're going to attack Iran, is because Pax Judaica has arrived. And now Israel is going to show the world, by defying the United Nations, by defying international law, and with the support of the United States and Britain, that Israel now wants to become the ruling state in the world. You cannot remain silent anymore. You will lose all credibility. The people will laugh at you tomorrow unless and until you wake up, you change your methodology, and you recognize that this is Dajjal at work. This is the shadow of Suratul Mursalat. And we have arrived at the third stage of the shadow. Among the events that will now take place, we shall make it clear that Israel is the ruling state in the world. No one will be able to deny that Israel is the ruling state in the world. Not even the political scientists. When the Great War takes place, the First World War and the Second World War prepared the way for the transition from Pax Britannica to Pax Americana. And the Great War called Armageddon or the Malhama will bring the transition clear to the world to Pax Judaica. This is enough for the subject of Dajjal. Before we end, I want now to speak about Iran. And I want to be gentle in my language, because Iran has shown phenomenal integrity in defying Israel, while the rest of us have put our tail between our legs and bow down in submission to Israel. Not Iran. Those who hate Iran and can speak only vile and nasty things about Iran, today they're looking like donkeys. It is because Iran has defied Israel that Israel has attacked Iran. I ask these donkeys, did Israel attack Saudi Arabia? No, Israel does not attack any Arab state because they're all in submission to Israel. And so Iran has shown incredible integrity. Number two, Iran has shown incredible courage. Iran has not betrayed this ummah. So we speak gently about Iran. Let the donkeys bray and continue to speak vile things about Iran, while we show respect for Iran. So we speak gently now to say to Iran that the fatwa delivered by Imam Khomeini that it is haram to acquire and use nuclear weapons, that this is a fatwa which has a lot of moral substance in it. And it is not our purpose to criticize the fatwa, but we must remind Iran that Allah has spoken in Surah Al-Anfal of the Quran, and Allah has ordered that we must build power to such an extent that our power will function as a deterrent, to deter others from attacking us. And if Iran had nuclear weapons, Israel would not have dared to attack Iran this way. And so it is time now for the Iranian people. I am sending this message to the Iranian people from Jambar to hearken and to heed to the words of Allah in Surah Al-Anfal, when He said, بَعْدَ أُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. Build power to the extent that that power can function as a deterrent against the enemies of Allah and your enemies. That power is nuclear power. When the Soviet Union was facing the crisis of the West, the Soviet Union acquired nuclear weapons. And that put an end to the hot war. It became Cold War. Same thing happened with Pakistan. And before Pakistan, the same thing happened with Korea. So I am telling the Iranian people that this is what Allah has ordained in the Quran. And you, the Iranian people, have to force your religious leadership to change your policy. That Iran must now withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Since all your nuclear plants are going to be destroyed now by Israel, you have to rebuild your nuclear power. But you have to do it with the help of someone who could protect you from Israel. Russia has built a nuclear plant in Iran. Israel does not dare to attack that plant because Israel is afraid of Russia. So Israel has informed Russia, we will not attack that plant. Iran has to establish a relationship with Russia now, and with Pakistan, and with Korea, for Iran to now become a nuclear power. And on that day that Iran becomes a nuclear power, all the Arab states will look stupid, because Iran will now be able to protect itself from Israel while continuing to defy Israel. Not because you have nuclear weapons will you attack Israel with a nuclear weapon. No, no. Fatwa of Imam Khomeini is correct that you don't use the nuclear weapon unless you are attacked. You will not be the first to use nuclear weapons. But if you are attacked, then the law of reciprocity applies. If they attack you with nuclear weapons, you can respond with nuclear weapons. This is my message for the people of Iran. And I pray that Allah might protect Iran.